Let men feel pretty. Beauty, masculinity, and the quiet revolution of gender expression. Beauty has long been treated as a feminine domain, delicate, ornamental, and emotionally expressive. In contrast, masculinity has been shaped by a cultural architecture that prizes stoicism, utility, and control. These binaries have not only distorted our understanding of gender, but have also robbed countless men of the right to experience beauty as a source of joy, healing, and identity. To feel pretty is not a trivial desire. It is a profound act of self-recognition, and all men deserve to feel it. This article explores the quiet revolution unfolding in the lives of men who are reclaiming beauty on their own terms. Through cross-dressing, gender swapping, and aesthetic experimentation, many men, especially those in traditionally masculine roles, are discovering new dimensions of themselves. Some do so privately, others publicly. Some begin with fetish, others with identity. But across the spectrum, the desire to feel pretty is not a deviation. It is a declaration. The cultural policing of male beauty. From childhood, boys are taught to suppress softness. They are discouraged from adorning themselves, from expressing vulnerability, from engaging with beauty as anything other than a conquest. The cultural script is clear: beauty is for women, strength is for men. To deviate from this script is to risk ridicule, emasculation, or worse. This policing is not merely social, it is institutional. Schools, families, religious communities, and media all participate in reinforcing the binary. Boys who show interest in makeup, fashion, or feminine aesthetics are often shamed, pathologized, or punished. The result is a generation of men who internalize the belief that beauty is not for them. And yet the desire persists. Beauty is not a gendered privilege. It is a human impulse. To feel pretty is to feel adorned, seen, and celebrated. It is to experience oneself as worthy of aesthetic joy and sensual care. When men are denied this experience, they are denied a part of their humanity. Emergency masculinity, the hidden lives of men in high-pressure roles. In exploring the lives of men who experiment with femininity, a striking pattern emerges. Many of them come from high-pressure, hyper-masculine professions: law enforcement, firefighting, military service, and city infrastructure roles. These are environments where control, dominance, and emotional suppression are not just expected, they are enforced. Within these roles, the desire to feel pretty often surfaces not as rebellion, but as relief. For some, it begins as fetish, a private ritual of escape from the rigidity of their public persona. For others, it evolves into lifestyle, identity, or even transition. The more rigid the external role, the more urgent the internal need to reclaim softness, fluidity, and beauty. This is not contradiction. It is coherence. The uniform, the badge, the gear, all symbols of masculine authority, become the very backdrop against which the desire for femininity is staged. In interviews and browsing fetish forums, one finds countless men who describe their cross-dressing not as a rejection of their masculinity, but as a way to balance it. They speak of their emotional release, the sense of wholeness, the quiet joy of seeing themselves in lace, silk, or makeup. These men are not confused. They are complex, and their stories deserve to be heard. From fetish to framework, understanding the spectrum of exploration. The journey from fetish to lifestyle is not linear, nor is it inherently pathological. Fetish, in this context, often acts as a gateway, a safe, private space where men can explore femininity without the immediate threat of social rejection. Over time, what begins as erotic play can deepen into identity work, emotional healing, and gender integration. Some men discover they are transgender and begin the process of transition. Others find joy in fluid expression without needing to change their gender identity. Many remain in masculine-coded jobs, quietly carrying dual selves, one for the world, one for the mirror. It is important to understand that fetish does not invalidate identity. For many men, the erotic charge of cross-dressing is not about objectification, it is about embodiment. It is the thrill of seeing oneself adorned, the pleasure of inhabiting a forbidden aesthetic, the intimacy of reclaiming beauty. As the exploration deepens, the fetish often gives way to ritual, routine, and self-care. What was once secret becomes sacred. This spectrum, from fetish to lifestyle to identity, is not a hierarchy. It is a continuum, and every point on it deserves respect. The role of shame and the need for reframing. The shame surrounding male beauty and femininity is not accidental. It is a product of patriarchal conditioning that equates softness with weakness, adornment with vanity, and gender fluidity with deviance. This shame is internalized early and reinforced often. It manifests as secrecy, self-loathing, and fear. To name this shame is to dismantle it. To reframe male beauty as sacred, healing, and expansive is to offer men a new mythology, one that honors their complexity, not punishes it. This reframing requires cultural work. It requires new narratives, new role models, and new spaces where men can explore beauty without ridicule. It also requires emotional literacy. Men must be taught that beauty is not frivolous. It is a form of care, a mode of expression, a pathway to integration. Feeling pretty is not about abandoning masculinity. It is about expanding it. Beauty as liberation, a new mythology for men. To feel pretty is to reclaim one's body, one's gaze, and one's right to be seen. For men, especially those taught to suppress emotion, adornment, and vulnerability, this reclamation is revolutionary. Beauty is not weakness. It is liberation. It is the freedom to choose one's aesthetic, to express one's identity, to experience joy in one's own skin. When men are allowed to feel pretty, they are allowed to be whole. This new mythology does not erase masculinity. It transforms it. It allows for a masculinity that is fluid, expressive, and emotionally intelligent. It honors the warrior and the muse, the protector and the adorned, the father and the femme. In this mythology, cross-dressing is not deviance. It is devotion. Gender swapping is not confusion. It is creativity. And beauty is not a threat. It is a gift toward a culture of permission and integration. Creating a culture where men can feel pretty requires more than tolerance. It requires permission. It requires affirmation. It requires spaces, both physical and digital, where men can explore femininity without fear. This means normalizing beauty rituals for men, makeup, fashion, adornment, as acts of self-love. It means decoding the fetish stigma and understanding its role in identity formation. It means supporting men in high-pressure roles by offering emotional outlets and affirming their right to softness. It means celebrating fluidity not as confusion, but as courage. It also means listening. Listening to the stories of men who cross-dress, who transition, who experiment, who feel pretty in secret. Their voices are often silenced, mocked, or ignored. But they carry wisdom. They carry insight. They carry the seeds of a new culture. The sacred right to beauty. All men deserve to feel pretty. Not as a joke, not as a kink, not as a phase, but as a sacred right. Beauty is not the property of women. It is the inheritance of all humans. And when men reclaim it, they do more than adorn themselves. They heal themselves. They challenge the binaries. They soften the armor. They rewrite the script. And in doing so, they invite us all into a more expansive, more compassionate, more beautiful world. Let men feel pretty. Let them wear lace and lipstick. Let them cry at sunsets and dance in heels. Let them be warriors and muses, protectors and adorned. Let them be whole. Because beauty belongs to everyone. And when we reclaim it, we reclaim ourselves. The sacred privacy of gender exploration. While the cultural conversation around gender is becoming more visible, it is essential to remember that the journey of exploring beauty, femininity, and identity is deeply personal. For many men, especially those navigating internalized shame or institutional expectations, this journey unfolds in private, often over years, sometimes decades. It is not a spectacle. It is not a performance. It is a sacred unfolding. Sharing this part of oneself, whether through cross-dressing, aesthetic experimentation, or gender transition, requires emotional readiness. It demands safety, trust, and a sense of internal coherence. No one should be pressured to disclose their exploration before they are mentally and emotionally prepared. Disclosure is not a moral obligation. It is a choice. And that choice must be honored. This principle is especially vital when it comes to children. Parents may notice signs of gender curiosity or aesthetic exploration in their sons and feel compelled to intervene, either to suppress or to encourage. But gender is not a project to be managed. It is a mystery to be honored. Children deserve space to explore without being pushed into declarations or identities before they are ready. Affirmation does not mean acceleration. Supporting a child's curiosity about beauty or gender expression should never become a demand for clarity. Instead, it should be an invitation to safety, to play, to wonder. The goal is not to label but to listen. Not to direct but to protect. For adults too, the journey must be self-directed. Whether one begins with fetish, fashion, or fantasy, the path toward feeling pretty is not linear. It is layered, emotional, and often fragile. To share it with others, family, friends, partners, requires discernment. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will respond with compassion. And that is why timing matters. Privacy is not shame. It is sovereignty. It is the right to choose when, how, and with whom one shares their truth. And in a culture that often demands visibility before readiness, reclaiming privacy is an act of power. Let men feel pretty. Let them explore in silence if they need to. Let them speak when they are ready. Let them be whole on their own terms.